Hey guys, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. We have been days of packing and shipping, and Card Club for Cool People January has left the building, so has all of our paper samplers. Now, we are going to offer another paper sampler, so keep your eyes peeled. If you are an email subscriber, kitchentablestamper.com/email. That's where you're going to find the news about our second round paper sampler the soonest. All right, so get on that email list. Everything is gone and out, and so now it's time for me to have some fun and craft with you. All right, so our Card Club for Cool People, that is our monthly subscription card club. We have an amazing card club, card class every month that you can either have delivered to your door or delivered to your email. So we have it online or to go. And each month I like to, after the card club has kind of been revealed and it's not a surprise anymore, maybe the recipients of our card club packets are getting their packets, I like to show an additional project, something three-dimensional usually, that you can do with the products that are included in those kits, those to your door kits. Or if you're getting that online, you're ordering the products, whether it's from yourself or from your favorite demonstrator, to do the cards. So then you're gonna have left over designer series paper, ribbon, and embellishments. And I wanna show you what you can do with those products. So this is our bonus Card Club for Cool People January project. We're gonna make a gift box or a storage box. Maybe you're making these cards for yourself. My idea with the January Card Club was that you could make a stash of very satisfying to make cards for card-worthy celebrations and get yourself stocked up for the year, right? So we did 4 designs, 8 cards with enough materials to make more if you want to, for a cake celebration card club for cool people. Now, we're going to do a cute storage or gift box for these cards with the remaining gems, ribbon, and the designer series paper. So you'll need some basic beige and very vanilla, early espresso, and basic white scraps, and your remaining card club products. All right, let's get started with our card keeper. You're gonna need a couple of pieces for the base of the box. We've got basic beige, and these pieces are 6 by 10 1/4. And let me show you, we've got a template, printable template picture in the project sheet on the blog. Card Club people, bookmark this video or this page so that you can come back and grab this project sheet and add it to your card club. So this is our cover, and it is 6 by 10 1/4. And then we've got our deep pocket, which is 7 7/8 by 4 1/2. And then we've got our shallow pocket, which is 5 3/8 by 3 1/4. All right, let's get our Simply Score tool and pop this cover piece in. I've got all basic beige here. We're going to go on the 10 1/4 inch side and score at 4 1/2 and at 5 3/4. That's our cover, pretty simple. Now inside of this cover, we're gonna have a deep pocket that will hold cards and envelopes, and a shallow pocket that could hold some postage, maybe some gift tags. I'm thinking about doing a part 2 to this video where we do some beautiful gift tags to match our cards. So let's start with the deep pocket, and we're gonna go on the 7 7/8 inch side and score at 1/2, at 1 3/4, 6 1/8, and 7 3/8. Rotate once to the right and score at 1/2 and 1 3/4. That's our deep pocket. Now we're gonna have a flat pocket, and this is 5 3/8 by 3 1/4, and we're gonna score 3 sides at 1/2 inch. So rotate once to the right, 1/2 inch, rotate one more time to the right, 1/2 inch. All right, so there is our base for our box. Let's go ahead and work those with the bone folder, and we'll trim them up according to the template. Now you guys are going to notice that this one does not have any trimming. This is our cover. It's very simple. So we'll just work those score lines and set that aside. And then these two pockets are going to need a little bit of trimming. Let's start with the deep pocket. You'll have a picture of the template on the project sheet on the blog, kitchentablestamper.com. You can, if you're watching on YouTube, just click on the link in the description below that says project details. Click here. When you get to the blog, underneath the embedded video, you'll find a little graphic that says today's project sheet. Click on that. You'll get a free downloadable project sheet with a picture of the template, all these measurements, step-by-step instructions, everything you need to make this card keeper. All right, so we've got this bone folder. We worked all the scores. Now we're going to start with the horizontal scores towards us, and we're going to turn this first ½ inch into a glue tab. So just cut an angle, little bevel at the top, and then remove the square and the rectangle. Then this is our glue tab here, so we'll cut along and remove this little rectangle here, and then cut up at an angle because this is our glue tab across the bottom, and we'll remove this rectangle from the bottom left. Then this is a glue tab, so we'll cut a little angle here and then remove the score. Now we're going to go down to the next score, cut a little angle, straight up and remove the score. Then we can go ahead and bevel on the ½ inch, remove those two little rectangles, cut across, get rid of the rectangle across the bottom, and then angle cut this glue tab. The last thing to do is just a little bevel cut right here, and there's your deep pocket. Now we're going to take the shallow, the small pocket, the flat pocket, and we're going to work those with the bone folder also and trim this one up. Then we're going to get rid of the squares in the bottom corners here. We'll take a little angle cut and a little angle cut, get rid of the square, then a slight angle at the top, over to the other corner, angle cut, and an angle cut. We can remove that one, and then a slight angle. So there's your pockets. Now we're going to add a little thumb notch here, so that, frankly, I did it so that a little bit more of the card would show, but you can remove the things out of the pockets a little bit easier with those thumb notches there. It's a fun little detail. So I'm going to grab a centering ruler, which we have on our Simply Scored tool, and a circle punch. I have a 1½ inch circle punch here. We're just going to find center on this pocket. I love that the Simply Scored tool has a 0 ruler right across the top, so we can take and find our center. I need all the help I can get finding center, and that way I know that my circle will be just in the right place, left to right. So then I'm going to put this about halfway in the punch, and then I'm going to take this little cut off piece and hold on to that for a second, because my circles are going to be side by side when you open up the book. I want them to be as similar as possible. So we're going to bring in our deep pocket and do that same centering here, and we're going to just mark it. All I do is make a little press so that there's like a divot, and then I'm going to take the smallest bit of liquid glue on this little ½ inch or 1½ inch thumb notch, and then I'm going to line that up, the center dot that was cut off of this one on the center dot, this one, What that does is it gives me a guide that I can punch that 1.5 inch circle, and both of our thumb notches will be equally as deep. All right, so let's get this out of here for now. And we can take our circle punch and then just slide that in and put the punch right up against the template that we made for ourselves. And now these are going to look really nice side by side. One isn't deeper than the other, look very tidy. So just a simple little step to make it a little bit neater. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get these into our cover. I've got tear and tape adhesive for this, and we're going to fold these guys in, and you'll see that the sides will overlap the bottom, and that's okay. It'll give us a nice strong corner. We're just going to run a strip of tear and tape across the whole bottom. And then what I like to do is lift the edge of the tear and tape so the sticky is still on the pocket, and I'm going to go up the side along the fold. And there's our pocket. Will be peel and stick. Same thing on the other side, just lift the tape a little bit so you're putting sticky to sticky over here and making a nice tight corner, and then tear. For this pocket, same thing, only we're going to build kind of a box bottom. Oh, look, I got a little piece of tape. It's all right, it won't go to waste. We'll put it on the tabs. So we're going to put some adhesive on these tabs. This is our step one. Then we're going to remove the liner and fold up the bottom of our deep pocket. So we'll get these clear. And then we're going to bring these in and bring the bottom up. Make a nice tight corner over here. Same thing on the other side. Bring in the tab, bring up the bottom, nice tight corner. And then at the back, we're going to have the same situation. The bottom is going to come up and the sides are going to go in, and the sides will overlap the bottom tab a little bit. That's okay. Make a nice tight corner. So we're going to run tear and tape, and it'll hold the bottom of our box together. Burnish that down, and then lift up the end. Put the tear and tape underneath, all the way down to the bottom corner, and then up to the top, and tear it off. And same over here. And now we're going to have two sticky pockets that we can line right up inside of the folder. So we'll start with this nice flat one. Bring this guy to the side. And we'll remove the liner. Bottom one's easy because we already picked up the ends. And if you have any that goes past the bottom or the top edge, just fold that up. It's okay. You don't have to tear it exactly straight along the edge. You can fold it back, any excess. Now you're going to have just the tiniest bit of bottom, right, and left border. It'll be about, I don't know, 3/16 of an inch. I don't think you're even going to get 1/8 of an inch all the way around. But let me hold that up to the camera, because basic beige on basic beige, you want to see that it's just got a little bit. Bottom, right, and left are the same. We're going to do exactly the same with this guy. Remove the liner and fold up any excess where it goes over. And then we're going to place your pocket just a little bit up from the bottom, and then equal right and left, and make sure that you don't pinch the pocket into a trapezoid. Okay, you got to make sure that you have a equal border from the bottom corner to the top corner. And then once you've got that and it's just touched, it's grabbed, you can use your bone folder and make sure that your pockets are adhered nice and tight. All right, so there's your pockets. Now we're going to add a beautiful herringbone detail to the front. This matches our cards, but we can't leave the inside undone. So let's get that modern herringbone embossing folder and some basic beige cardstock. I have 2 pieces of basic beige cardstock, one for inside the pockets, one for the cover. You can see by the magic of television, my inside one is already done. Now this piece right here for the inside pockets is 4 3/8 by 3 3/4. And you're going to run that so that it stops and starts at the same point, and you can divide it in half. All right, so you'll get perfect pockets that line up with each other on the inside. On the outside, you're going to need a piece of basic beige that is 5 1/2 by 4. Let's get the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, modern herringbone embossing folder, and the number 4 plate. Modern herringbone is 3D, so we're going to start with 1, and we're going to pop our pieces in. Again, here we go. We're going to make sure that they start and stop at the same point and that they run level. Give it a crank. I love this folder. We've gotten a lot of swirls and streaks and paint textures. This one just stands out as so different from a lot of the embossing folders that Stampin' Up! Has been giving us lately. So I am having just a field day with this. I love this folder. I hope that you'll like it too. I want to give it a little bit of a shabby chic kind of look. So I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to use the edge of my scissor to give a little distress all the way around. And all I do is just open that up and carefully just scrape the edge. You can scrape it more, you can't unscrape it. So be sure that you go gentle. Okay, now I've embossed both of these panels and roughed up 4 ends on that one and 2 the long sides on this one. Now we're going to grab a paper trimmer and we're going to cut this smaller piece right down between the herringbone here. So pop that on your paper trimmer, line up that little groove, and disassemble. Now you've got 2 pieces that start and stop the same spot, and we can give them a little bit of a distress. If you like this look, give a little bit of a distress. If you don't like this look, that is just fine. Keep it smooth and clean. All right, there's our pieces for inside and for the cover. Let's go ahead and adhere the inside panels first. I'm gonna just grab some liquid glue and adhere 1 piece to each pocket so that it runs right below that thumb notch, but you want it to start equal distance from the bottom of the pocket. So I've got maybe 1/4 inch here, and I could use a little bit more glue at the edge, so I'm just going to sneak some underneath there. All right, then the same thing with this one. We're going to put it about 1/4 inch from the bottom of the pocket here. Make sure that you got it the same way. See, we've got kind of a narrow herringbone. We want that up. And so now, if we were to fold this up, you want to see that it runs across pretty level. So there is the inside. Isn't that just a lovely texture? All right, now outside, before we adhere our front, our textured front, we want to grab some ribbon. I've got this wild wheat stuff. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have fallen in love with this ribbon. It just has the nicest smooth feel, but it's got this beautiful kind of nubby texture. The color, everything. I'm appreciating this the more that I use it. So let's go ahead and tie up the front. I'm using a lot of ribbon and even a lot extra ribbon. I want it to be nice and long so that it's easy to get the cards in and out. And you want the ribbon to line up at about the top edge of your deep pocket. All right, so it'll end up being just a little bit low of center, but that'll give some support as you tie. We want enough ribbon for a big bow so that it looks like a gift, and a little bit extra so that when we tie and retie a couple of times, we can trim it down if need be to clean up the edges and not feel like we lost too much of the length. So I'm not gonna cut down the size of the ribbon yet. I just got a really big bow. I've got it running where I want it to, about level with that top of the pocket there. And now I'm gonna take some tear and tape, and I'm going to put a nice big strip of tear and tape right over this ribbon. Could do 2 or 3 strips even, and that will hold the ribbon in place. Now it's where I want it, so I can open this up and work flat on the cover. I'm just going to bring liquid glue now around the edges, but you could take your seal or your CL Plus over here, more tear and tape all the way around, whatever you like to work with. I really do like to work with the liquid glue. All right, there's our tear and tape keeping the ribbon in place. And now we're going to add our card front, or our box front centered. Grab that tear and tape and really sandwich that ribbon in. And there it is. So now we've built our box. We've added some gorgeous texture to it. Let's decorate it. I've got some designer series paper from the Wildly Flowering designer series paper. And I've got completely different patterns, and that's okay. We're gonna go for it. This is 3x3. This is 2x3, and we're going to add those to the front of our box with some liquid glue. And well, I want to see that little, I don't know, it kind of looks like what's that one that comes out in the spring on the bushes? Lilac. I don't know, it looks a little bit like a lilac to me. I like the shape of that flower, so we're going to show that one. Remember, your label and your cake are going to go across the center, so pick the side of your paper wisely. And we're going to have equal top and bottom, right and left margins. Get that one on there, a nice neutral one. Then we're going to take our die cuts. This is the die set that coordinates with the Wildly Flowering designer series paper. It's called Wildflower Designs. There is a stamp set that coordinates. We're using this big scallop frame. When you cut the big scallop frame, it gets the hexagon also. And so I've got early espresso and very vanilla. I'm going to put some liquid glue around my hexagon frame. And then I'm going to do the frame so that it pops just above the ribbon. So I'm going to pull the ribbon, see where it's at. We're going to go end up just high of center this way. We want to use the ribbon to level the points on the long end where the angles come to a point just above, and that'll get it level across your whole front. And then we can add the early espresso cut out from the center. There is, oh, I really like it in the blue patterns. it's going to be so much fun. I'm going to make another set of cards. I've made it twice now. I'm going to make a third set of cards with the blues that are in the wildly flowering. Like I said, I am building myself a stash of cards that I can give all throughout the year for any cake-worthy celebration. So wanted to do one of my card keeper boxes in the blue pattern so you could see that in case you want to do the same card club for cool people. All right, so now we've got our layers on there. Let's do some stamping so that we can decorate this up. I'm going to get some basic white. Cake Celebrations is an online exclusive stamp set or bundle, and it is photopolymer, so I want my Stampin' Pierce mat. Let's start with basic beige for our cake on the outside, and I'm going to do just a little bit slightly different, and I'm doing this live too later this week, and even later this week it's going to be a little bit different, but it's fun to mix and match it all up. All right, so we're going to do our beige cake. We need the long layer, and we're going to do a second generation long layer. When I do a second generation, I like to kind of prime up my stamp, prime up the area where I'm stamping off, so I get a nice lighter saturation, but it's still nice and saturated because my stamp was ready to take the ink. Where I'm stamping off isn't sucking up all of the ink. We're just going to stamp two of those side by side. And then we'll bring the streak and stamp over the cake in a full strength streak. Then we're going to do the same thing with the smaller layer of the cake. Get it all primed up and ready to go. Stamp off, stamp one, stamp off, and then make it double tall. And then the streak, I like my streak going from the left side, and that one is full strength ink. So there's our beige cake for the outside. Now for the inside, I'm going to do a wild wheat cake. And because the beige is just so mellow, I'm just going to stamp off. I'm not even going to clean up in between. I can put the streaks away for the next cake. We just need the long layer, and we're going to switch over from basic beige to wild wheat. We're going to do the same stamping off and second generation for this cake. So get that stamp. All right, when it's stamping nice and smooth, then you're going to stamp off and then stamp. And you'll stamp 2 layers high. And then we're going to grab this speckle, and we're going to add a little bit of speckle over our top to give it some texture. There's our wild wheat cake. Now leave the wild wheat out for just a minute because we're going to bring in some Misty Moonlight, and we're going to make a set of candles. You're going to need 2 if you're going to do it just like mine. You'll do 1 set for inside and 1 for out. I've already got one ready by Magic of Television, so there's my Misty Moonlight candles. And then the flames and wild wheat will just line up right above. Super simple. Look at those little cuties. Aren't they adorable? All right, we are done with wild wheat and Misty Moonlight. We're going to do something a little different here, Card Club. Are you ready? Bringing in some boho blue this time. And we're going to do our flowers in boho blue. And we're going to see how this turns out together. I haven't done this one yet, this combination yet, so we'll see. We're going to stamp all the flowers. Now, this is the large one right here. And we need, let's see, I wrote it down. We need 4 of this large flower. I'm going to stamp 1 for demonstration purposes. All right, so we're going to stamp it off and stamp it. There's the large side. size. We need one of the medium one, believe it or not. So I'm gonna stamp one medium one, second generation, and you need 3 of the small if you're doing it exactly like mine. And I'm only doing 1 of each for demonstration. So there's my small, medium, and large. Then I'm gonna take this little like starburst asterisk like stamp image from the set, and I'm going to stamp it full strength over the second generation right on top. Oh, look at those cute flowers. I can't wait to see my cakes decorated with the blue flowers. All right, then we can bring in 2 more colors. We've got 2 more images. If you're doing your project exactly like mine, of course you can take creative liberty. I'm taking creative liberty on my second box, right? But if you want to do exactly like mine, you're going to need 2 of this pedestal cake plate. I have one ready by the magic of television, but that is Pebbled Path. And you're going to need 6 of this little 3-leaf sprig. And I have a bunch already stamped and cut out, and that was early espresso. All right, let's cut out our pieces and some icing. So for my icing here, I have got the like chocolate fudge layers and the icing. We're going to use early espresso for that. I'm going to get my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine all set up for die cutting. And then I have my images and some early espresso cardstock. I love these cake celebrations dies. They mix and match with the stamps and allow you to create a ton of really great effects. Different layer cakes with either the same size layers or what do they call it when they get smaller and smaller? You can do stacked with the littler one on top. You can do them stacked high with all the same size. You can do them doubled up so that they fit on the die, or you can do them single. There's so many options with this mix and match stamp set. Then take into account changing up your stamp, your ink colors, and your designer series papers. It's just a really good birthday cake set. If you make a lot of birthday cards, this one will look different every time depending on how you mix and match your layers and how you use your die cut pieces and stamped pieces together. It really is a great versatile set with lots of room for creativity. I'm going to die cut all my stamped pieces, but in addition to that, we've got our icing and our frosting here. We can run those. All right, we've got everything ready. Let's give it a crank. And now here we have our stamped cake. But of course, you could cut that out of designer series paper using this die, or you could cut it out of cardstock using this die. Then you can layer it up with these frosting icing layers and really have all kinds of mix and match options that are just the sky's the limit. So I'm going to get all of our bits and pieces, including a couple that were magic of television, and let's make some cakes. Okay, so what I have here is the pieces for my outside cake, my inside cake, and then a little flower embellishment. And so speaking of little flowers, I like to do my flowers ahead, and then I just put them in the little container. On the top of the container, I have what's in there. Just make a bunch at one time. They've all got dimensionals on them already, so large, medium, and small, and these are ready to go. So let's go ahead and build our cake. We're going to use our pretty pink and beige one here as our sample. And we're gonna just get a little creative. All right, I like to build my cake so that if there's any white edge after I die cut, then that's the edge that's going to get the glue. So it's a little white along the edge there. And I'm gonna pop the cake plate on the cake. And then I'll take the top layer of the cake and just streak a little bit of glue and pop that on there. Oh, I'm getting glue everywhere. Well, let's stop getting glue everywhere and work on our silicone mat. Always forget about my silicone mat. There we go. That keeps the glue to a minimum. There. All right, so we've got our outside, our basic beige cake. Now let's do the same with our inside cake. There's a little bit more of a white edge here, because when you stamp those two cakes side by side, you might be a little bit more narrow than the die, and that's okay because the cake plate hides that. Now we're gonna do the icing and the layer frosting on these, and I'm just using a little fine point glue bottle. Works great. Now you could use the adhesive sheet, and this can be peel and stick if you wanted to. I like to do the icing first because then I can just split the difference between the cake plate and the icing, and between the icing and the icing, and put that layer frosting in there, and it's much easier to see where it should go to make a balanced cake. So first my icing and then my layers. And the layers will just divide the space right to left. And there it is. A little bit of glue is awesome. Less is more. There. Now this guy is going to get the same treatment. A little bit of liquid glue on the icing, and then the layer. And I'll split the space using the frosting layer. There's a stamp that also does this layering, so you can imagine that whether you use cardstock, different colors of cardstock, or you use the stamp, you're going to get a different look. It really is very fun to decorate these cakes. All right, now let's slide these guys aside and get our box here. I'm going to go ahead at this point and I'm going to put my envelopes and my cards. I've got 4 envelopes and 4 relatively well layered cards. You can see that there's room for some more. You can do, I think, up to 6 even of the most fancy layered cards. And we're going to go ahead and tie this up. We want to tie it so that the bow goes all the way on the front. It's going to be part of our design here. So pull that up onto the front and then loop, swoop, tuck and pull. And then at this point, if you wanted to, you could trim off any excess ribbon. You had to do a little bit tighter. There. And now our beige layer cake. Let's get some liquid glue on there. We're going to put that so that the plate runs along the bottom of that hexagon. Beautiful. Then we can grab our little candles. This is one of my favorite little details when this goes on. I mean, the flowers are great too, but when the candles go on, it's just really cute. I'm going to put them left of center so we have room for all of our amazing flowers. Now, the flowers have dimensionals on them already, and I'm just going to peel and stick. I have not done this with the blue yet, so I am as surprised as you by the outcome. put a big one and a small one. And then we'll put, uh-oh, my layer frosting moved a bit. There we go. And we'll put a medium one over here. And then a big one and a small one on the top of the cake. Big one and a small one. Then what I like to do is take my little leaves and easy button. Of course, you can use liquid glue here. This is probably a little bit more, if you're counting cost of adhesive, this is probably a little bit more pricey way to do it. But I do love the pick and stick of the glue dots. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of my leaves on glue dots, and then I'm going to tuck them in around the flowers to decorate the cake. So pretty in blue. What do you think? All right, we're not going to compare them yet because we got to put all the decorations on there. Now we're going to try wild wheat cake with some blue flowers on the inside. Let me show you the original here. So let's go ahead and adhere the cake to the inside pocket, all the way to the right with the foot of the pedestal on the bottom of our texture. And then more candles, this time just a little bit right of center so we have room for the flowers. And then my flowers are peel and stick. I've got a big one and then a little one. And I'm using the dimensionals on the inside too. There's plenty of room with the ribbon to get around there and tie it up. And let's get one of our little leaves on glue dots and add that to the cake. I love it. And then our last little element to finish off the inside, I did a little flower across on the other pocket. So let's add one of those. I'm going to get my glue dots again. I'm just loving it in blue. I can't wait to have a set of these cards done with the blue designer series paper. It's Misty Moonlight, Boho Blue. They're such beautiful colors in this wildly flowering, and you get half a pack with your card club packet. So it really is a generous amount of ribbon, designer series paper, embellishments, and there's so much left that I like to take this time and just really show you guys something beautiful you can do, card club members. All right, now before we close up the inside, I'm going to grab the embellishment. So we included a spool of the wild wheat rustic stripe ribbon. Then we included a partial pack of the adhesive back dragonflies and birds. And we included a full package of the 2023-2025 in color opaque sparkle dots. So as you can see, I did my first set of cards and my second set of cards with the wild wheat and the moody mauve. But this one we're going to do with the boho blue. So let's get some boho blue sparkles. I did my cards twice already and one card keeper. Now we're on card keeper number 2. So like I said, you're going to have lots of extra products to play with after you finish your cards, or to even keep making more cards. All right, so there's our sparkles. Let's get the last little touch for the inside of our project here. I've got some Wink of Stella, and I'm going to just brush a little bit of Wink of Stella on the flower petals. And then I'm also going to do the flames on the cake. I didn't do the flames on the cake in the card club video, or the flames on the candles in the card club video, but I like that little touch. And then we can go to the outside here, and we're going to add some beautiful sparkle on each of these flowers. Oops, I lost my dingle. Don't go losing your dingle. All right. Oh, I lost it again. Oh, man. If you know me, you know what's coming next. I'm just dingle challenged. Doesn't stop me, though. It does not stop me. You can do matching like we're doing here or contrasting. The pebbled path would look really pretty in here. And I also think the wild wheat would for a little pop. There's our beautiful opaque sparkle gems. Now we need a couple of birds. Get that metallic sparkle going on there. Let's get a couple of birds on here. There is a ton of sparkle between the birds and the dragonflies and the little touch of Wink of Stella. Those opaque shimmer gems really is. Oh, didn't that just make the card beautiful? Let's get a little Wink of Stella and tie this up. I hope you'll give this card keeper a try, even if you're not card club members. It's a great way to gift some of your beautiful handmade cards or to store them. Let's go ahead and tie this guy up. And bring in our Moody Mauve version of the card keeper. Let me know in the comments which one you like better, the Boho Blue or the Moody Mauve. If you've got any questions about Card Club for Cool People, or if there's anything I can do to help you stay crafty, email me, Marisa, at kitchentablestamper.com. And to shop Stampin' Up 24/7, you can buzz over to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.